Hey, Chris.
Hi, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thank you. You doing all right?
Yeah, doing well.
Awesome.
Thank you. I'm
Looks like
curious. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna make chit chat. We're looking like we're closing down the rest of the year here, and
Yes.
it's just amazing how fast, I don't know, how fast, but also how slow 2025 has gone.
Yes.
Anyway,
I'm curious to know whether clients whether there's much appetite for, I guess recruiting services or, or I guess you also offer services for job seekers as well now, or no? Did I
not so
mistake?
much. Not
Not
so
so much.
much.
You
Yeah.
don't, you still are doing recruiting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The services for job seekers it's kind of tough. Yeah. I've done some of that, but it's kind of tough.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I've done that before myself.
Imagine managing 20 clients
Exactly.
versus one client.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, when you
It's
compare sort of revenue potential, it's
corporate
actually
has more. It's a huge difference.
yeah.
How's the pipeline? Because, are they doing much hiring year end
It
this
it really
year?
depends on the company. I think, a lot of the work that we get is correlated with funding events. So when a client, raises a round of capital, they have to put that capital to work, and a lot of times that manifests itself as hiring. And so, those are the kinds of cycles that we deal with. So maybe not so much around I guess if there's some correlation around funding events and I guess the calendar year cycle. I don't know. I mean, companies are still hiring and, things maybe slow down a little bit during the holidays because people are on vacation and, but yeah, companies that are hiring, especially the companies that we work with, they're still trying to keep things moving.
I heard conflicting things about. Hey, Eric.
I think,
Congratulations on the new role, by the way.
yeah, it's just a client. It's just a client engagement. They're not an entirely new role per se.
Yeah. I was hearing some conflicting things with respect to VC funding. So on a podcast, I'm hearing like now that Trump is allowing private investment and stuff like that for basically the retail public, it's a bit of a we missed the boat because even like and maybe this is more PE than VC. I'm not sure, but the they haven't been able to exit on their investments, so the available funding is kind of limited. But then I'm hearing from another friend of mine who's kind of close to startups that some of these VCs are like bursting at the seams with cash. So they're just like, yearning for things to invest in, right? Completely different things.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe it's a case by case basis. It's hard to say, but I think one thing that I've noticed is that again, just anecdotally, it feels like there's an increasing concentration of funds going into like AI enabled companies. But again, if the sort of the public market, the IPO market is not moving, then I think everything else sort of upstream kind of, they kind of slow, it seems like it slows down too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's a little bit of capital now moving, to some of these startups, which is good for us because, and our business is correlated with these a lot largely these funding events. But
How's the job market in general? Like, I know there's a lot of layoffs because of AI. I read an article that seek like kind of quietly some companies are rehiring some of those people they let go because they just not there yet for some of these roles, I suppose. But um, is it like I've actually been seeing some more open positions lately, which I was a little surprised about because and maybe this is just for strategic partnerships, which is what I'm kind of focused on. But yeah, I don't know, like is kind of net.
yeah, I don't know. Like, it feels like maybe the purse strings are loosening up a little bit. Especially I think as AI starts to find its way into solving domain specific problems, there's a little bit more or maybe less wariness on the part of investors where they can start to see the value and start to place their bets. Again, it's all anecdotal. Hi, Divya.
Hey, I was
Welcome.
hoping to see few of my JSC team members here today. I guess they did not make it.
I don't know. Is Timothy or Christopher, in your group? Maybe not.
They are not. I have just one question. Actually, I had a couple of questions. Timothy asked, like, hey, is the job market getting better? Are you seeing any? I am certainly in NSA noticing a lot more people landing jobs just in the last few weeks, 1 or 2 weeks. I don't know if it's timing or if it's the time that they chose to announce that they got jobs. One broad thing, I keep hearing that, hey, reaching out to recruiters on LinkedIn will not work. Directly reach out to CEOs, CFOs. I am afraid of just like reaching out, like being inconsiderate. What's your thoughts on that, Eric?
I mean, LinkedIn gives you access to some of these people, especially if you start engaging with their content and in a meaningful way. So reaching out, that's a great way to get that's a great way to get a recruiter to look at you, right? Is getting an endorsement from their CEO or their hiring manager.
Okay.
If you're able to connect with the CEO or the hiring manager or whoever is influence at the company, and they tell the recruiter, hey, you need to check out Divya's resume or whatever, and so the recruiter will look at it, right? And so that could be an angle that you can pursue. But in terms of, I think your question is about etiquette. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Just reaching out coldly to like, hey, I have about 45 or 50 companies that I am targeting, mainly because of my middle of nowhere situation. Although this is the view I get to see every day.
Where are you?
In Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they say when the mountains turn pink, it's time to drink, but it's every day. We did not know that when we moved from Wisconsin to here. So
Eric, do you mind if I take that? Because I have an approach that I learned through this. So I'm not even part of NSA anymore because I found a job last year, but I like to kind of check in and see
Yeah.
how the job market is. So I continue to appreciate the stuff they're offering there. But there was another program that I took a part of that I paid like $10,000 for. It's really expensive, especially since you mentioned that you have like 50 companies that you're targeting. This might be an interesting way to approach it. Basically, they're using automation to do this. And it's a combination. It's called career propulsion. I don't recommend it. If you really want to know what the key tenets are, then just message me and I'll tell you what it is, save you 10 grand or something. Basically, the gist of it is that it basically, you use automation to do the reach outs, and you don't message right away. You don't even bother with any of the LinkedIn in messaging. What you do is that you use a combination of Sales Navigator to essentially find the executives that you might be trying to target at these companies. Chris has an interesting question for you, Divya. So
wait, sorry.
you use Sales Navigator to get the target list, and then you use another tool called Dripify. And what this is it's really nothing more than RPA, right? So what it does is that it takes that whole list, it actually just imports it directly from Sales Navigator. Then what it does, well, and there's no template per se, like being offered by Dripify, because it's meant for sales, right? But we're using this for recruiting. And there is a template that Career Propulsion kind of put together. And basically the first thing it does is it looks at their profile, and then the next day it sends out, it looks again at their profile. 10 minutes later it sends an invite to connect. No message. And the idea here is that, if they are the kind of people who just don't like to connect with strangers and whatever, then you didn't waste any time sending a message and all that kind of stuff. You didn't use any in-mails either. So you're kind of doing that filter for those people, or filtering out those people. If they accept, then it automatically sends a message. I think it looks again at their profile or something. Then it sends a message that you predefine, basically kind of, that's your pitch. I'm actually in Detroit, by the way, so I'm not even close to Colorado. And then if they don't reply at first, then like 3 days later, then it does the same, like look at their profile, follows them, and then, I think it takes away the request and re-requests or something like that. So it's things like that. And, essentially it's an automated workflow that I found was really effective because, how else can you manually manage like especially in Divya's case, with 50 companies, that's like, let's say it's five executives you're trying to, with 250 people, there's no way, right? So, I don't know, but like, I actually found my job just as I was like kind of in the middle of the career propulsion program. So I didn't get a chance to test it out. Would love your thoughts on, like, theoretically, I guess, because you can't speak on everybody's behalf, but does that sound like a program that might be effective?
So we have some motions on our side because we're a small boutique recruiting firm. We use LinkedIn. We don't use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, but we use LinkedIn, what they call RPS, Recruiter Professional Services. So it's aimed at small boutique recruiting firms like ours that have recruiting needs, but also have business development needs. And there's a lot of overlap between recruiting and sales and business development, right? In terms of the motion with respect to identifying the right person, understanding who they are, reaching out to them, sequencing, outreach, engagement, follow up, all that stuff. And so we've been using that. The RPS, they call it what do they call it? I don't know, business development something, right? And I don't think we've really scratched the surface of all the capabilities it can do. But I think that motion that you're talking about is typical of what a lot of salespeople do. And you think about the job search journey, a large part of it is marketing and sales, right? And I think a lot of folks are still trying to understand what motion they're trying to do before they even consider automating it. I think, and we haven't even, I mean, I haven't been using some of these tools like for job seekers, but I think there's some out there that will automate some of these things. But that stack that you were talking about there, Timothy. So what was that again? Can you just say it again? Was it what stack were you talking about in terms of the automation or the Dripify? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Get
but
linked on that was meant for marketing. It's drip marketing, literally.
but it plugs it. It plugs into LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
yeah, I mean, whether it's email sequences or
so,
LinkedIn sequences.
but do you need to have LinkedIn Sales Navigator?
You do.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's quite a budget, right? I mean, if you take the programs again, if you spend $10,000, what's $250 a month? Hopefully for not too many months, but yeah, but it's pretty expensive. Dripify itself is another like $50. So you're running at a run rate of like $300 a month or something. And interestingly enough, like all the things that like NSA, Eric, everybody has been advising of. It's one of those things where it's like for example, you publish articles and stuff, and that's one way to get recruiters' intentions. Like for me, I find it's so much easier to do this when you're employed. When you're unemployed, the last thing on your mind is writing an article about something,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So I guess one thought is, if you're going to establish like this sort of scalable automated motion for doing outbound and connecting with the right folks, it seems like, yeah, it could help you get a job. But I think what we're seeing is like there's a lot of folks that are like looking for fractional work, especially people that are further along in their careers. And you build a motion, an automated motion that helps you get business or helps you connect with the right people that can give you business or give you a job, right? Yeah, like it feels like that would scale a bit more if you build that and you're getting inquiries around, fractional part-time, consulting projects. And I don't know. Yeah. I mean, to build a motion like that for finding a job, it might be overkill. I don't know. But yeah, I think the point is figuring out a motion that works and then figuring out how to automate it. But so I guess the Sales Navigator and if you're saying it's $250 and then Dripify is $50. No,
150 or 250. It's
yeah.
pretty expensive.
I don't know. I mean, $300 doesn't sound too bad if you're automating a lot of stuff. Like if you can get out to 50, if you can identify, or whatever numbers you were mentioning, 50 to 250 potential influencers or key executives at target companies, and you can automate the outreach and engagement to them. That is, because a lot of it too is just the emotional energy, right? It's not just the time you're spending, running through the motions of sending stuff. It's just the emotional energy, that can be very draining. So I don't know.
I only got 2 inquiries during the time that I turned it on back in the day. But what I found valuable was that I was basically spending my time on only 2 things. One is developing those lists that could be imported into Dripify. And then the second thing is preparing for these conversations. Because even when they respond, even after they've accepted the message, then it sends that sort of like, thanks for connecting, blah blah blah. And only when they respond does Dripify kind of identify them as somebody to actually reach out to. I mean, it is very effective, and you're right. Thankfully, I just kind of forgot about some of this stuff. I'm thankful that I'm in that position, I suppose. Yeah, you're absolutely right that the emotional side of things was such a huge thing for me, and it was like absolutely worth it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got me thinking too, because again, we use RPS for our outbound to connect with people that are hiring, right? And LinkedIn knows who's hiring because either they have the thing that says I'm hiring, or they have a job post on LinkedIn that's tied to them. So
That's
yeah,
in Sales Navigator as well, by the way. If you
yeah,
know.
yeah. In terms of whether they're hiring or not. Yeah.
Definitely, the emotional side of it is huge. Like, as you are crafting your message, you're reading, you're researching about the company. And I'm like, this is the worst job market that I have ever been. Like, I haven't received any, like, I usually receive cold requests, like connect requests, and I connect. And if people reach out to me, just like honestly, I'm looking for jobs, I would look at their resume. But this is a totally different market, different mindset. Everything is like, there are no baselines for this job market. It's like, this is the baseline, this is the beginning. I think it's only going to get worse with AI, ATS screening, and all that stuff. Humans are less involved. There are no etiquettes, I should say, Eric. I'm worrying about etiquette, but I don't think the general public who are in hiring positions are doing that anymore.
I mean, you guys got me thinking because, we have emotion. I mean, I'm not a job seeker per se, but I'm a client seeker, right? And I just want to share something with you guys that I think might be helpful. So we've been in this business since 2013, and we have a giant repository in Google Workspace of all our client artifacts, everything from signed master services agreements to spreadsheets with search updates to job descriptions to invoices, what have you. We have a giant repository. Gemini is proving to be a really interesting way to really tease out insights out of that repository, whether it's writing articles or writing briefs or emails about certain clients that might be great case studies for a new client, for a new prospective lead, to just having numbers and metrics around specifically the work that we've done. And I'm just starting to scratch the surface on what Gemini is able to do with access to all this data. And if you have something of the equivalent, be it a resume, any work documents or artifacts, that stuff can really be mined in ways that are far easier than they were just a few years ago, so that they can add more color to your resume, to your marketing, right? So that's something that we're doing and learning ways that we can tease out, some of the insights and documents or artifacts or things that can help with our marketing and business development, things like case studies and things like that. Because it would be cost prohibitive to do a lot of that without the AI. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because that's something I'm excited about. I started scratching the surface on this week.
Chris and Divya, are you guys using any like AI resume tools?
When you say AI resume tools, you mean like Claude, Chat GPT?
No.
No, I used to use JobScan.
Yeah, I used JobScan a while ago. I didn't follow through with it because I found another one. How are you finding it though?
I kind of stopped using it because I don't know why I stopped using it actually. I mean, I had a subscription and then I bought Claude. I bought Claude last year and then I bought Claude this year, and Claude seems to work just fine for resumes in my opinion, but I could be totally off base. But which one did you find? Did you find a better one than JobScan?
Yeah, I don't remember much about JobScan, so I can't tell you if it was better or worse. Did make a decision to drop JobScan for this.
Yeah. It must have not been that memorable.
Well, it was called Hunter.io.
I used Hunter for sales though. Hunter is also for resumes.
Yeah.
I did Hunter many years ago for sales.
Yeah, I think it was. It was hold on.
I used JobScan too. I remember signing up for it.
Where's it done?
using the first resume screening or whatever review. I wasn't super excited with the feedback. And
Oh, sorry. Hunter.co, HUN.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense. The
Yeah.
IOs were not that I did business development with that, but I needed emails for
Oh.
marketing or
did you use hunt.io?
No, HUNT. Should I just type it out? Give me a second. It's I found
Oh,
it super useful.
it's spelled in a very funny way. Like,
Yeah, it's
startup.
like every other startup, but you don't spell it like like regular English. But do you want me to share? Can I even share my screen with this thing?
Be able
Uh, okay, hold on. I'm on my work laptop, so I don't even know if I could log in. But give me 1 second, because I could show you an example of how it works. Perhaps.
While you're looking that up, you're saying all the things you learned from career propulsion ultimately helped you land your current.
No.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, I paid $10,000 for nothing. I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
it's not that. No. It was good stuff, but it's just that I was in the fortunate position where I was referred to my current job by a former coworker. I didn't need it, but I got that referral like halfway through the program. Yeah. But anyway, so you can see this is a little bit ago, but so it has job trackers. It helps you to even see who did you apply to. Oh, well, who do you want to apply to, I suppose. Who did you actually apply to? Who are you interviewing with? This is who I actually got the job with, but anyway. And then who didn't, who gave an offer and who didn't. But there's a lot of tools that, if we take this one, which I actually just recently added, because I continue to use this. So what it does is, I can't show you right now because I don't have the toolbar installed on my work laptop. They lock everything down. But you could add this job either directly through LinkedIn. Right now I have Eric's profile up. But like, so let's say I had a job description pulled up on LinkedIn. There's like a little button you could press, usually in the bottom right corner, and then just add job. Then it adds it to, whatever your job board, for example. Then it essentially just pre-fills all this stuff out, right? So it has the job description, the URL, and so on and so forth. Put in the salary if it didn't already. I think this one actually did have it, but anyway. So then it starts to parse everything out, and it's like, okay, well, what are the different skill sets they're looking for? And I no longer have the subscription, but anyway, it does kind of summarize what it believes that they're looking for. But really, the value comes when you look at the documents part and then the resume builder, and then you could edit a resume. Like you create a base resume, but when you create when you basically kind of tailor the resume on this app, and it tells you, okay, what does it think that you're scoring right now? So it could be, a bit of a proxy for what an ATS might rate you as, but then specifically which areas, right? So, for example, qualifications. Okay, I'm only fair. So why, right? And okay, 12 years, I can't do that, but maybe that's not as important. I already edited this one, so this one's a little bit hard. But anyway, if you go to any of these sections, you could also have it try to rewrite it. And it's either by making it shorter or longer, or this is a really bad example. It's like there are places where content quality, perhaps, I don't know. So yeah, okay, it can improve that. This is new, at least for me. But I think over here, if I did have, okay, like keyword match, for example, let's say I didn't have strategic partnerships, which is a shame because that's what I do, then I believe it could, I don't know, I can't do it right now, but you could basically, it gives you an option to rewrite any of your bullet points in a way that includes that stuff. And again, all this is AI. Maybe I could even just do it here. So yeah, let's say I wanted to do something in partnership development, then it's just going to generate something. And sometimes, like, obviously this is boilerplate, but you could use this as, like, for me personally, it was just like, it was exhausting to constantly have to come up with new bullet points and so on. So like, just having an example of, here's like a quote unquote ideal resume bullet point. And then I could either, like, okay, did I do something similar to that or whatever, like as a starting point for brainstorming. I found it super useful. And you can see I'm still on the free version right now, and it already has this. It just limits the amount of AI that you could use without paying for the subscription.
Oh, this is way better than JobScan.
That's what I
This
thought.
is much more
'cause I-
full-fledged as well. In every app.
Yeah, super tailored to the job search. Whereas like If you
Yeah.
just use ChatGPT, you're really having to do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. This
Yeah.
is so automated. And then you can
Job
just
scan is so lightweight compared to this.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't use ChatGPT anymore. I think after their Atlas upgrade, something happened and it's like hallucinating so much that I would have a line like where I went to school, University of Akron, Ohio, and then it makes up that I went to Bronx, New York. I'm like, wait, I already have that I went to Ohio. So
Mm.
anyways, long story short, I'm not using, but Claude seems to be I talk a lot to Claude. I think it has become my personal companion more than my husband these days because I am doing job search 18 hours a day. So it actually, if you provide context, like for example, I'm in a revenue ops, I'm looking for revenue operations roles, but not forecasting heavy. And I go in and I'm like, hey, this is asking for forecasting heavy experience. How do I phrase my cover letter so that I am bringing my core strengths rather than highlighting that I don't have forecasting experience? Not all revenue ops are forecasting heavy roles. So, and then it tailors, like it does a really good job. But Hunter, I briefly tried Hunter because I attended one of the webinars by the Hunter founder. He was very convincing that this would work for me. But the biggest challenge with Hunter is when you are in deep job search, where you are applying for like 10 roles, 5 roles, whatever, n number of roles a day, it quickly reaches that free limit. And then it tells you to upgrade in the middle of like, I'm halfway done. And then it asks me upgrade today. And I'm like, no, I'm already paying upgrades for so many things. I'm yet to see Hunter at that level. Maybe I'll give a 1 month try and see if it works for me.
Yeah, I actually paid for the subscription back in the day.
Yeah.
I found it that useful that I've reached the same limit. Like as a more casual seeker, casual slash opportunistic seeker, I'm no longer hitting those limits. But yeah, when I was really deep in it, then I paid for it. It was worth my sanity. But I mean, to each their own, I suppose, right?
Guys, I got a jam. I apologize. I can leave you guys to. I'm just gonna leave the meeting. And you guys can continue chatting. Happy to do that, but I have to catch a lift. Oh,
Eric,
we'll talk. We'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye bye.
So where are you guys with respect to your job search?
I started in August.
August, September, October. Oh
Actually,
wow,
if I look at my first job application, it wasn't until August 20th-ish. I took the first few weeks like trying to figure out what I want, like where do I want to focus my energy. But I think the first time where I felt like hopeless was probably middle of November. I'm like, why am I not even landing a recruiter call? So trying different things now.
Well, you mentioned cover letter generation. It's like I was gonna ask Eric, but and then they had to drop. But what his thoughts were on like cover letters in general. Like I haven't heard it being super effective for a long time. Like to me, this kind of direct reach out networking replaced cover letters because that's the only way for them to want to look at your resume nowadays. Recruiters way back in the day. So this is like over a year ago. Eric was telling us that recruiters are basically like super inundated. So I think he mentioned the old stats were like one recruiter used to support 5 to maybe up to 10 job recs. Now it's like they're supporting 15 to 20. So I mean they're just so overwhelmed. I don't know if it's still the case. I can't imagine it changed a lot because AI made things even worse, I think, from that perspective, with the expectation that they can do more with less. But I don't know. Are you doing outreaches as well as cover letter?
Cover letters are mainly for the outreaches. Like, for example, if I'm applying for a job, I apply and then I wait a day or even 2, depending on how many jobs I'm applying. And then I'll find someone sometimes it's easy to find who is the recruiting manager. LinkedIn tells you that this person is recruiting manager. So I send out my cover letter to that person in LinkedIn, hoping that I can find, or like he or she will open my LinkedIn message. And lately I have been using Apollo IO to find email the people who are in those companies. And I send out an email saying, hey, I applied for this job, bro. Please check out my resume. In So some people said, do not replicate resume quants in your cover letter. But if I am reaching out to them via LinkedIn, via email, I want to put some quants in my cover letter. So at least they know that I am coming in with a solid, these are my quants. Now go look at my resume and give me a chance at least for an interview. So that's been my strategy, but it's not working, obviously, right? I attended another webinar today where the recruiter said, just within 24 hours, even if you're 50% match, just apply. I'm like, 50% match?
I have heard that as well. And the 24 hours thing is also what I also heard. As a non-recruiter, I wouldn't know for sure, but I'll take their word at it. Uh, I think couple things that I learned from CP that may be helpful for you is that like the approach, like CP supposedly did some analytics to kind of refine their methodology. So it's supposed to be, quote unquote, scientifically backed. Obviously, these, every kind of data science is a law of averages. So, tailor it to if you have any kind of intel on that person specifically. But in general, the way, like, I find it so interesting that that they used the Dripify platform to do all this stuff, because really it's such a good descriptor of how the job search goes. It truly is a drip, drip, drip. You have to follow up 5 times. And now me being on the other side again, where people are reaching out to me about, do we have any job openings and stuff like that. It's so true. Like the fact that you have to sometimes message me 4 or 5 times or something. And it's like, I'm now going through the psychological journey on the other side. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm learning something that maybe is useful for me down the road, But you reach out the first time, I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll reply, but I'm like super busy. I have 1,000 other things. Then you do a follow up, and oh yeah, shoot, forgot, let me just get back. But then I got distracted by something else. Third time they say it, I'll be like, you know what? I already kind of I ignored them twice already. What's the difference between 2 versus 3 times? Then the fourth time they remind me, and they're kind of starting to backtrack. Like basically the tools that I've been using on other people, I found super effective on myself on the other side.
Would you get irritated though if someone is
No,
reaching out to you
well, 'cause
5 times?
there are some people I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to even respond, but I don't care. I just delete the email or LinkedIn message or whatever. Right?
Oh,
There was no harm. Worst case, honestly, you burned a bridge with somebody who would never have considered you anyway. So it's like,
that's
so
true.
yeah, it's basically low, if not no cost, from a social networking perspective. But the other thing is, with respect to your mentioning of including, figures and so on, what CP really recommends is you don't do a hard sell. Like nobody likes being sold to, right? And again, I can attest to it being on the other side. I'm just like, okay, if somebody comes on super strong, it kind of turns me off, And usually, you know, you're trying to develop some kind of light, but relatively meaningful relationship with a recruiter or hiring manager or whoever it is in a relatively short time. So really, that's why the first reach outs are usually just, you're not explicit about I'm looking for a job and stuff like that. You're just asking them, hey, I'm interested to know more about company X, then maybe you kind of, if they actually do apply, then you go, more into, would love to set up a call, just 20 minutes of your time or something. Would be great to learn more about, your journey into this and stuff like that. And then like during the call, then maybe, you kind of play it by ear. But, if they seem open to it, that's when you kind of reveal that it's like, okay, by the way, there was an opening in this group. Is that your group or is it like another one or something? And would you happen to know the hiring manager? And you kind of go away with an ask that, like, if you don't mind, like, just letting me know who it is, and if you're comfortable giving me like a warm introduction or something, I could send you my resume. Like that kind of thing. But that's kind of like the way to network your way in and not sell your way in. So like I said, CP, super expensive. Theoretically, like all the stuff is sound. It's just that I didn't have a chance to test it because I was very fortunate that I got a job halfway through the program. Yeah.
Did
Everything.
you land via networking, cold application?
So I saw a posting for the job and then the one that you saw in Hunter. And then I was like, like LinkedIn shows you who of your peers are there. It was a former coworker of mine. So I just reached out to him. I didn't want to go through the official channels. You're almost always more successful going through unofficial channels. Every single one that I had a job interview for was always through unofficial. In fact, there was another one where I applied. I was like the perfect fit, zero response. And then I realized, I have a connection through a former coworker. So I asked him to give me a referral. Then immediately I got an interview, right? Because he had a really good reputation with the hiring manager. So it's like, again, I don't know if the world has changed in the world of recruiting since I was searching, but I imagine it hasn't. And if it hasn't, then just like all these, in fact, that recruiter for that company told me like she got like 10,000 well, maybe not literally, but like 1,000 applications within a week or something. So she literally just threw them all out. And like, there's no way, there's just no way that she has that kind of time to review everybody.
Yeah.
Like, even if she spends seconds per resume, she doesn't have enough time in the day. So like for me, when I see a job on LinkedIn, I never even apply. I don't care if it's within 24 hours or whatever. It's such a crapshoot. I'd rather look at who's in the network that I know, reach out to them and tell them, hey, can you put me in touch with the hiring manager? Your chances are just so much higher. And like your effort is, the potential reward for that effort is so much higher than actually putting in an application and hoping to get through ATS and all that stuff.
Wow.
I don't know. Chris, what's your experience been like
Sorry, I was eating dinner. My experience is like with what?
with the whole recruiting stuff?
Yeah. I know Eric has a lot of opinions on this, and you can watch his YouTube channel, but uh yeah, the thing is I sort of agree with Eric that the external recruiter is always out to get their incentive or their share of whatever their cut is. So in an ideal world, we would be placed by an internal recruiter because that will maximize our whatever, income we get. And these internal recruiters are probably in a better position to negotiate. So I know this is being recorded. That's sort of my off the record observation. I just like the internal recruiters better. That being said, the external recruiters might be a necessary evil if you want to do like a contract or a temp position. You just don't have a choice.
Do you have any tips or tricks on how to even get the attention?
Oh, yeah, I do actually a bunch. So I like Timothy, your idea. So, okay, I really like how you got in touch with your colleague about getting a referral, and I agree that you have nothing to lose. So, I met up with like someone through Asian Leaders Alliance recently, and I met up with him in person. He's also a fairly senior leader. He was telling me how he also found his job also was through a colleague. So it inspired me. So I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Now I live in New York City. So I started off with just my geographic region. I reached out to everyone who was in my former company, like a long time ago, corporate. It's a huge network and is no longer working there and in my area. I actually got a lot of good responses and they were willing to refer me. You'd be surprised. You thought most of them would not even bother responding. No, many of them actually respond. But I picked people who, the reason why, of course, I didn't pick the people who still work there is because I probably don't want to go back to my former company. So you want to see where did these people actually go? They went to some really good places usually if you worked for a corporation. So I wouldn't I was agonizing about that for 3 years. Should I not reach out? I wasted a lot of time. Not just I would say just go and do it. I had to really swallow my ego and just do a very direct ask is what I did. I, of course, said, "Hi, how are you? and all of that and happy Thanksgiving, but I didn't beat around the bush about what my request was, and they granted it in most cases. You'd be well, what I did was I didn't directly I does your firm have a referral program? And then I made the ask after that. Because I
Mm.
think it's better if they have a referral program. Otherwise, it might also go into black hole. So that's how I did it. The other way is what functions are you both in? Just so I know.
I'm in sales ops slash revenue ops slash
Okay.
customer success operations, mainly some form of operations and data analytics. My background is in data though. So when I was in Wisconsin, up until I was in Wisconsin, I was in core data analytics architecture space. But
Uh-huh.
when I moved from Wisconsin to Arizona, because the entire division for my husband's company, Caterpillar, they moved from Wisconsin to Tucson. They moved the headquarters,
Uh-huh.
mining headquarters. We were one of the last few people to move from Wisconsin to Arizona. I found a role in Intuit, and because of my data analytics, data architecture experience, they wanted me to lead the innovation modernization of speech and text analytics, interaction analytics. So I played product manager, program manager, data analytics leader, a lot of roles in that. Then the rest is like reorgs, whatever comes my way.
So now you're looking for another sales ops.
So over my almost 7 years, I worked in customer success operations, customer success analytics, then most recently, sales operations analytics and sales
Uh-huh.
tech innovation. So sales tech innovation is where the revenue operations part plays a big role. So since I have had such a diverse background, I wanted to position myself in revenue operations because revenue operations is very data heavy, more pre-sale to post-sale experience, which I have, except the forecasting piece.
How about you, Timothy? You're in strategic business development. Partnerships. Oh, okay. Yeah, so here's I don't know, I don't think a lot of people do this tip. It's sort of I'm advertising my secret tip on YouTube. I shouldn't be. But okay, so my trick is that you go on Slack as all the Slack channels that you can go on that are relevant to your niche, your function, your industry, and then go under the job openings. A lot of the job openings are people who are already working there. If they're not, then that's not helpful, right? So then you can message that hiring manager who posted the position, and then they'll get you an interview.
Hmm.
Those are my two secret tips. I don't know if they're that secret anymore. Those are my that
I didn't know
will
jobs.
help you.
I didn't even know jobs were
Yeah,
posted.
they're posted all over Slack. In
I
fact,
am
for both of your functions, you should be able to find a bunch of positions on Slack. Yeah.
So, are you part of the PM Tech, Christopher?
No, I've heard of it. I'm not.
Nabil, most of the LinkedIn followers should know him or must have known him. Nabil Khan, I think he's the owner of that Slack channel or Slack group. I should say Slack group because there are a million channels within that group. They post job opportunities there. Hiring managers post,
Yeah.
hey, I'm looking for somebody in XYZ. Although when you search for it, you'll find very few. If you are in a senior level role, it is harder, I should say, because hiring managers don't come there and ask for, I'm looking for a director of revenue
Right.
operations.
They won't.
But you see a particular group or team member posting multiple postings in that area, you know that that team is growing and you could target that company. Hey, I saw multiple openings in XYZ area, want to make a connection. I don't know. This is a lot of effort and time that
Yeah.
we take.
I think it's your best bet is probably to reach out to former colleagues across the corporations that you worked for. You'd get much more bang from your bank because there's probably some unadvertised or hidden roles. That's the other thing. If you go to meetup groups or like a regular group, some people are going to share with you some unadvertised roles if you have like a tight circle. Yeah, that's the way I see it, at least. That's how I got past jobs. That way you have no competition because they already know you and they're not even posting it.
It's a similar thing to that whole Fruitify, campaign. You're trying to go for the offline jobs basically. So, you're not necessarily I mean, obviously you can go for the ones where they made some kind of a job posting and then you're trying to find out who the hiring managers and so on. A lot of times it's just simply like, I want to go for this industry. So, and for this position. So you're just kind of filtering for companies within that industry and then executives within, whatever area or adjacent area too. Right. And then you're just reaching out to them. And then worst case, you just had a 15, 20-minute coffee chat with someone. Maybe something was revealed or not. And then best case, you actually are referred to a position that wasn't advertised, like Chris was saying.
Yeah, it's always good when they are able to have an informal chat with you because then you have a slight advantage over, there's probably not even much competition.
Yeah. And that's the dream, like that's the quote unquote happy path for everybody. Because even from the hiring side, it's just like, "Oh, goodness, do I have to review like 100 resumes and stuff like that and whatever. Whereas somebody says, hey, there's this person I chatted with really quick and, I don't know them super well, but it seems like they're worth the conversation. I mean, it's quite an endorsement, So yeah, everything I learned is it's theoretically very sound. I might actually just test it out. Sometimes the best times to look for a job is when you have one, I suppose.
Yeah,
So,
that's for sure. Because when you're actively looking for a job and you don't have a paycheck coming in, all these small things that you're paying for, like Firefly's AI, I'm looking at, oh my God, in addition to the million subscriptions we have, like Netflix, this and that we cannot cut because whatever. And these are also adding up. And it's definitely not, I'm not talking just from the subscriptions point of view, but the emotional toll that it takes on you, the emotional cost, right? And for some reason or other, people have bias about people having job reaching out versus people who are out of job and reaching out. I don't know. I probably did not have that bias, but I definitely know it exists.
it can. I mean, funny enough, both of the other the other two that are in my group also lost their jobs when they came into this, and they were very transparent about like they lost their job, they were laid off, and didn't seem to affect that. I think maybe like hiring manager versus recruit. I don't know. I'm just making this up, but like maybe that's potentially also a difference too. Like a hiring manager would be like, well, I mean, I get when layoffs happen. I personally have gone through a couple deals already where the team I'm working with on the other side of the deal got laid off halfway into the deal, and then it's just like, yeah, okay, now I gotta not quite start over again, but I have to kind of uh re rehash some stuff, I guess, with somebody new. So it's like, if I see somebody in partnerships that isn't currently employed, I'd be like, I don't know. I've worked with some really good people. They got laid off. I don't think losing your job in this role necessarily means anything. So I don't know. Maybe I'm more of a glass half full kind of person.
We're in unusual times. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are being.
That's the thing. Yeah. I think, if you asked me 5 years ago, maybe that might be different too.
It would be a little bit more of a stigma because that was when the economy was really good.
Exactly. But it's not just that. I mean, it's like, I know even fintechs that are, because that's my area, right? But I know fintechs that are doing super well. Profits are like growing like crazy and they're still doing layoffs. It's only to, protect their margins, so they're doing it kind of unnecessarily, at least from my perspective. But it's just another reason where somebody losing their job nowadays doesn't mean anything. I think way back in the day, if you lost your job, it's because you got fired for a reason, right? Not necessarily nowadays. Nowadays, like everybody's just getting laid off. And you read in the news every single week at least. AI is a reason that they're laying off 6,000 people, 10,000 people, or whatever. It's like those add up, and there's a whole lot of people that are impacted by this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, though.
Well, for me, it was a great session. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I have one other tip that you might both find helpful. I'm part of this organization called Ascend, which is a nonprofit for Asian American leaders. That's also been a really good organization.
Ascend. Oh, I
Yeah,
found it.
yeah.
Ascendleadership.org.
Yeah, yeah. You can check it out. Yeah. If you're an executive, they have a separate group. It's called Pinnacle. It's only for executives.
Very cool.
Yeah. I don't
Hey
know.
guys,
I yeah,
good to
nice to
have
meet
you
you.
guys on.
I'm not sure if they're in Arizona or Michigan. They might be.
There is nothing in Arizona.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good weather, yes. A lot of rich people from California, yes. But no
They're
job.
all working in semiconductors, right?
So that's Phoenix. Phoenix is very semiconductors, more call center, payments processing, that kind of economy, not fintech. I mean, Tucson is very heavy on defense. Raytheon, Honeywell, a lot of defense companies. So even to apply for those positions, you need US security clearance, and they stopped doing fresh new security clearances. I think sometime around the COVID, they stopped doing it. Yeah. Well, great connecting with both of you. I think Eric might have felt like, oh, this is my session, but they are actively leading the
You're
session on
taking
my book.
over.
So whose Firefly note takers are those? None of those have your names.
They're
Kayla,
not here.
they're not here and they just put their
Yes.
notes.
That's why I was so nervous about sharing so much, but I did it anyway. It's okay. If other people benefit, sure.
Right. Yeah. I discourages that note taker business. I mean, if they are here and that's fine.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable, but it's
Exactly.
okay.
Like, yeah.
I still shared.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Christopher. I'm connected with both of you on LinkedIn. And if you find any connection of mine interesting, other than from the NSA, you probably can just reach out to them directly. But anyone from Northwestern Mutual, from Intuit, from any other company, let me know.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How to find Chris? There's 1,000 Chris Lees.
I'll put it in chat. Yeah. My name is way too common. And every company, every city I live in, there's multiple me's.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Nice meeting you guys.
Okay. Nice.
Thank